All right, buckle up, everyone. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be tackling something a little different. We're diving headfirst into a day in a life on the Indian stock market.
I like it.
We've got a daily market wrap-up report as our guide. And by the end of this deep dive, you'll be deciphering these reports like a Wall Street wizard, spotting the trends, the whispers, the shouts, all of it. So first, let's set the scene. The Sensex decided to, well, take a bit of a nap today. It closed down by 236 points, landing at 81,289. And the Nifty 50 wasn't far behind, closing at 24,548. So not exactly a party on Dalal Street, was it?
No, not really a party, but, it's just one day, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just a snapshot.
That's true. One day doesn't tell the whole story. But I wonder, how worried should we be about these indices being in the red?
Well, it's like, think of the Sensex, the Nifty 50, as kind of like the heartbeat of the market, right?
Yeah.
They're reflecting the overall mood. And sure, a down day doesn't necessarily mean we're headed for a crash, but it does tell us there's something going on that we should try and understand.
All right, let's get into it. So let's zoom in, look at the sector-specific performance, because this is where things get really interesting. For example, forest materials shot up like a rocket, over 3%.
Wow.
Now that seems a bit
It does, yeah.
of a contradiction to the overall, downward trend we're seeing.
Yeah, what's happening there?
Well, I have no idea, but I'm excited to learn. So that one sector is up, but not all sectors were quite as celebratory.
Oh.
For example, media and FMCG took a bit of a tumble. Media is down by 2.44%, and FMCG dipped by 1.61%.
Oh, what's going on there?
Well, I'm not sure, but
it could be a few things. Maybe consumer spending is starting to slow down a little bit, which would, make sense for both of those sectors. And then you've got all this talk about, changing habits when it comes to media consumption.
Yeah.
I mean, all those traditional media companies, they're definitely feeling the heat from streaming and all those online platforms,
Yeah, makes sense. It's almost like we're seeing not just daily fluctuations, but like long-term shifts in how the world economy is working and how people are behaving.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if you should invest in a crystal ball or something. But speaking of trying to predict the future, let's look at some of these individual stocks.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
That had some pretty big standout performances or, lackluster performances in this report.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Chalet Hotels, wow.
Yeah.
Jumped almost 10%.
Wow, Chalet Hotels.
Someone knows something. Good about Chalet Hotels, I wonder.
Well, it makes you wonder if maybe they do know something, right?
Yeah. On the other hand, though, National Aluminum took a 7% tumble. Ouch.
Yeah, that's not good.
Makes you wonder.
It does.
What's happening behind the scenes? So you've got to connect the dots, follow the clues.
Yeah.
Like a detective.
It's like a puzzle, isn't it?
To really understand what's happening with these stocks.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of global factors, let's move on to commodities.
Okay, let's do that.
Crude oil is up. That makes sense. But gold, which we always think of as like this safe haven.
Yeah.
Down.
What's
this
the Sigma?
Commodities. Man, commodities are always so interesting because they react to everything,
Yeah, absolutely.
Global events, weather patterns, you name it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the rise in crude oil prices, I think that's pretty easy to connect to all the tension, in the Middle East right now.
Right.
It always makes the energy markets a little bit jittery. But gold dipping while oil is rising. Now, that's curious.
Yeah.
I think it might mean that and investors are feeling a bit more, bold, maybe a bit more optimistic about the overall economy.
Okay.
And they're shifting their money into riskier assets.
Right.
Like stocks, say. So maybe. It's not quite time to panic and run to the hills just yet. All right, last but certainly not least, let's talk about this whole FII, DII dance that you mentioned earlier. Because the report shows that foreign institutional investors are selling off.
Okay.
But domestic institutional investors,
they're doing the opposite.
it's a tug of war.
Yeah.
So help me understand.
All right, so think of it this way.
Okay.
FIIs and DIIs, They're like two different teams in the market, right?
Right.
FIIs are like the international players.
Yeah.
They're bringing big money into India. Now, DIIs, they're more like the home team, the local heroes, you know?
Cool.
When you see them going in opposite directions, it's telling you they have different opinions
Interesting.
about what the market's going to do next.
So in this case, foreign investors, they're a bit hesitant, maybe a little spooked by, all those global tensions that we were talking about earlier. But domestic investors are saying, hey, we still believe in India's growth story.
They're doubling down.
They are. It's almost like a vote of confidence.
It is a vote of confidence, and that's, really valuable information.
Yeah.
It's telling you that even on a day where the market's down, there's still, different opinions, different perspectives at play.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
I know, right?
We started with this simple daily market report.
Yeah.
But we uncovered so much.
Yeah.
So many layers of information.
Absolutely. It's like an onion,
Yeah, it really is.
You peel back one layer and there's another.
Global economic trends.
Yeah.
Investor psychology.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It's all connected.
In this one little report.
And the best part is, the more you practice,
Right.
The more you look at these reports, the more those connections start to make sense, like learning a new language. And once you know the language, you can understand the whole conversation.
And maybe even predict.
Yeah.
The next Chalet Hotels.
Right.
Before it takes off. I like it.
That's all the time we have for today, but keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.